The following is a conversation I had with Josh Ng, blue belt, super dad, former angry hockey player, and all-around good guy. Josh has been with our club since we started in June and continues to be a valuable and consistent member of our team. So we got to talking about a bunch of different topics. It's really great to get to know Josh a little bit better, and I hope you enjoy. Yeah, so this will be our first episode of Matt Chat. We have my friend Josh here.
Hello.
And so the premise, as we mentioned before, is people come in and train with me. We just did an hour session or so, worked some stuff, and I'll take it over to Josh. So Josh, how was the training?
Other than getting killed by you? No, it's good. It was good. Learning the worm, lapel stuff is pretty handy.
Lapel stuff is cool, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you need to know it.
Especially in the gi.
Yeah.
Might as well use the gi.
Well, that's the whole point, right?
What it's supposed to be used for, right?
Yeah. So what did you feel about training today, about the lapel
That was which?
like different than regular gi training that you've done before, I guess?
Like we talked about, it does save your grips a lot because you're not getting your grips ripped apart. That's great. And that was a big reason why I personally liked no-gi better is because I hate grips.
Yeah.
I hate being locked down. Actually, being locked down is not so bad because it just happens anyway. But definitely going for like collar grips and stuff like that and people just ripping at your hands, it's tough, man. Unless it's your like passion to be like the gi guy, it's tough. And
yeah, I think like I had sore fingers for a very long time, because I train mostly gi, right?
yeah.
I'm there with you on that. When I first started doing this, maybe like 2 years ago, or longer, maybe 3 years ago now, like
just
playing
before
around
COVID.
with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, I find for me holding the lapel, I can hold it with a lot more like endurance without destroying my grips.
Yeah, you don't have guys pulling at your fingers and stuff too.
That's good.
I think also it's like gi compared to no gi, which was frustrating. I think was a lot of, I don't know if this is newer people or it's kind of like a crutch where the movement's negated because they just hold on for dear life.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily for anything. It's just stop.
Less about your jiu-jitsu, more about how long. I mean,
survival, right?
Yeah, like how long can you hold on for isometric strength for sure. I mean, actually, how long have you been training for now?
Do we count COVID time?
Yeah, I mean, like, what's your start date?
Ooh, I think it was 2018.
Okay, so
it was about 2 years just before COVID.
Okay, and where did you start?
At PTT.
Was it?
Yeah, it was at PTT, and I think you were there.
Yeah.
You were there for the first class, I remember.
Could be.
Because you were not really coaching the class. You were prepping for a tournament, I think.
Oh, okay.
But then you were there, and you were helping people out anyway.
Brown belt?
Yes, you were brown belt.
Yeah, that's the last time I competed.
I think you were just starting to prep for that.
Yeah, sounds about right. What made you get started?
Owen.
Well,
not to say it was just Owen. It was always in the back of my mind to do it, but I didn't know where to start.
Yeah.
And then I think Owen went before.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
And he said,
when
there was I think it was what's that called? Like 2-for-1 thing?
Oh yeah, like some kind of Groupon deal?
Yeah, it was a Groupon deal.
Those things are scams. I hate those
I didn't do the Groupon deal. He just did it with Liv at the time, and I think Amy was there. And so he's like, hey, you should come. It's right across from AMP.
I don't think Groupons are scams, but I've been guilty of going to like restaurants that have Groupon deals. I'm like, because when I found out how much, and I found out, watching it through PTT, it's like if you, I don't know if Groupon still exists, but it used to be like if you give like a 2-for-1 or half off, like Groupon takes a percentage because they advertise it. So I may have gone to some establishments, like food establishments, been like, hey, I noticed you have a Groupon.
can I just pay you directly and you give me half off? And, you know, if they work out the math, it's actually a better deal. 'Cause
Yeah.
they'll just be like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because if you buy like $20 for $40 to spend, of that $20 that I pay Groupon, I think the restaurant only gets like $5 or something ridiculous. Whereas,
Just to get people in the door.
yeah. But for me, I'm like, Groupon, I'm like, can I just give me half? And they'll be like, I guess.
Honestly, even if they weren't making any extra money off that, just the like mental of that conversation sounds so much better than like, hey, do you want to pay this guy over there?
Yeah.
What I'm paying you, or you just take all the money I'm giving you, even if it's half off, you know?
Only Groupon
If you
loses.
think about it.
Yeah, only Groupon loses. Yeah.
But yeah, jiu-jitsu's been fun. I loved it from the very get-go. I don't know why. I think it's, you either are super into it when you first start or very hesitant because it's such a large scale of learning. Like,
Were you
just-
hesitant when you first started?
no.
No?
I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. Obviously, just
Did you do anything else before, like
martial arts
wise?
wise.
Yeah.
Nothing serious. No.
Serious?
Just shadow boxing and stuff
So if,
like
if
that.
you count back to like 2018, that would be almost like 4 years now.
Yeah, but not really 4 years of training.
COVID.
Because basically took a year and a half off
Yeah.
until we started
Yeah.
this.
COVID.
Yeah, so I'll say 3 years. I'll say 3 years of actual training.
3 years actually of like consistent
Consistent training up to that point. Because I was going to compete right before COVID.
Oh, yeah.
I was planning to.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Do you think you'll try again for a
think so.
competition later?
I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, when things open back
Yeah.
up, maybe. But do you think you'd do the gi or the no gi?
I think I would do no gi.
Just for the dirty foot stuff?
No, not that. I don't know. I just feel, I don't know why I'd want to do it. I just feel like maybe it would be more of an even playing field for me, in my opinion. But just movement wise. But then again, the guys my size are all the same speed, I would say. So I'm not sure.
Like,
Maybe I will do gi.
Yeah, I mean, post-COVID, once
Yeah.
there's a lot of options now, which is nice. Like tournament-wise, there's like at least, I want to say at least 4, if not, there's probably more than 4 like different well-known promoters locally that you can do stuff with. But yeah, maybe we can get a group together and do it. It's nice when everybody goes.
Yeah.
I think just for the experience. And it'd be nice because if people want to go, the club can like will comp your fee for it or something like that, right? Like, or at least we'll comp your fee and we can comp the entry for like.
Right.
That's one thing that weirdly, all these tournaments, like jiu-jitsu is a pretty niche, like it's a small sport, right? So you're in a high school gymnasium or something, and then I think it would be beneficial for them to just let spectators in, like free of charge.
They charge, right?
Yeah, they charge like, I don't know, like 5, 10. Anyways,
Yeah.
it's okay. I mean, I think of it as supporting the sport, but
Yeah.
I feel like if if I never asked anybody to come watch me compete. I'm like, oh, don't bother. It's gonna cost you $10. Like, I'll
Yeah.
just go and like get beat up by some guy and I'll tell you about it later. Right. But it is nice the few times I've done it that like, if people do come and support you, it is nice, but I wish like you should kind of just let them in. Or like, I think
Yeah.
like if you, maybe they do this now, but if you're competing, then you should get like a couple passes for,
That makes sense.
For,
You want to grow the sport,
yeah,
right?
yeah, I think so. I don't know. But yeah, it'd be fun. Get some team track suits and show up.
It's interesting because it is a small sport still.
Super small.
Yet, I think because we're in it, it feels like it's everywhere. Where you just kind of, you follow certain things on Instagram versus if you follow UFC, like there's jujitsu involved, but
Yeah.
it's not, I know it's not the main thing, but it's included, and I'm surprised it's not as, I won't say popular because there's no striking it. People seem to like that. Oh shit, like this guy got knocked out, blah, blah, blah.
But there are submissions,
There are.
right? So that's kind of like I find the submission is the equivalent of the knockout.
I 100% agree with that. But I don't know, it's weird. Like I guess the casual mindset is
Yeah.
because they don't understand the nuance of what's happening. For example, like, oh, John grabbed my lapel. It's like, oh, he's going for freaking lapel stuff. To the layman, they'll say that, like, why is he grabbing the bottom of his jacket, of his pajamas? That seems stupid. You should just go for the face or something,
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
And I think you're right with the exposure part. They should let people in and see what it's about. Because without that, you're just going to have either you're in it or you're out. That seems to be it. And I don't know about other schools, but do you feel sometimes it is a closed off club with certain people? Like, do they say, like, oh, you don't do jiu-jitsu, you're not my world?
No, I find like I certainly enjoy chatting with like anything grappling related. Like for instance, we have some new guys at work, and a few of them are like very competent and high level wrestlers. So I enjoy talking with those guys, just like because you also touch dudes, right? Wrestle sweaty guys. Like it's like some simpatico you have, right? Like so I like, but I don't think it's I guess I'm more excited to talk to somebody about the commonalities of hobbies. Like if somebody does jujitsu, I'm like instantly, oh hey, like you light up a bit and you chat with them. But I don't think it's exclusionary in terms.
But do you feel some? I don't say schools, but like just some people. Let's say
I haven't had the first-hand experience, but then again, I'm in it, right? So I don't. I should ask Anna or something. How do you feel about these guys? Just all these guys talk about wrestling other sweaty guys, right?
I do know some people who are like that though.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Oh, you touch dudes?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Well, I'm trying to murder this guy. They're like, I can't do it. It's like, I don't want to touch another guy. And I mean, I see their point of view and like why they're like that, but they see UFC. They're like big UFC fans. These guys are pounding on it. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think maybe it's a striking thing. What do you feel are some positives to jiu-jitsu? If you had like, do you have any standout like positive experiences that were really?
Oh, 100%.
Or like if you needed to tell someone to start, like what would you say? That's like.
It's a good question. For me, what it did was it really let me focus.
Oh, okay.
I think because it was so new and exciting, but also difficult, it really reset my brain. Yeah, it's even difficult now, and we've been training for years, right?
I'll tell you, I'm in my, I don't know, past 10 years training, and it hasn't gotten any easier. So,
exactly, right?
It's not going to get any easier, unfortunately.
And I think that's the beauty of it, because it's a never-ending learning thing where, and I think most people want to get better at things. Most people, I must say all, because some people are stagnant. And I think if you are that type of person where you're stagnant, jiu-jitsu is something, if you can get over that first day of how different a world it is, and I guess it can be intense, depending on where you go, then I think it'll set you on the right path for other things. Because for me, I feel like when I started, I was very, I'd say busy, but not productive. And so when I started it kind of gave me that jolt of like, hey, like this is something I really want to do.
Yeah.
And if I really want to be half decent at it, I won't even say good, like decent at it, I have to put the time in, right? Yeah, not suck, not get murdered every day, which you will.
Yes.
So yeah, like that really reset me to focus on not just jiu-jitsu, but like other aspects of life, like having a kid, also like career-wise, making decisions on like where you spend your time, right? Like, oh, jiu-jitsu was for me was so important that like, okay, if I need to get better at this martial art, I have to cut stuff out. And it made me really think about like what's just in my life that is just I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like for example, hockey. I played hockey for years.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I played ice hockey for years, and then I think around when I started jiu-jitsu, I was getting to a point where I was getting really frustrated with just going to hockey.
Yeah. Not fun
It
anymore.
wasn't fun, and I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
It was just like a thing to do,
Yeah.
like a hobby, but not even a good hobby. It's
Well,
like
I don't know.
it's like
Hockey's
playing
good. lot
a
of
video
people play
game for
hockey.
the sake of playing a video game.
Yeah,
You know,
okay.
like you're just
Yes.
like, oh, I got to kill some time.
Yeah.
And do this. And then for hockey, I'd just come home, I'd be like pissed off. I think it just reached its peak of there's no way I'm going to get any better or any worse, I'd say, as long as I keep it up.
How
But
long
I'm
did you
not,
play hockey for?
Oof.
Like whole life? Like, since a
So
little
whole
kid?
life. So I guess I started playing ice hockey pretty seriously around 15. So from 15 on, it was just hockey.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got good to a point, but then it would just became stagnant, I guess. It just became a thing to do because your friends are doing it.
Yeah.
And then it became a point where I didn't even have friends who were doing it. It was
Yeah.
just people I knew, not necessarily friends, right?
Yeah.
And you just
people
show up, and I think there's a lifestyle with beer league hockey is, you know,
Beer
you
league
go to
that
drink
was-
beer,
yeah, I
right?
guess so. Beer league hockey, beer
And I
league
think that
lifestyle.
really frustrated me because I don't drink.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm very competitive,
Yeah.
especially I guess in team sports and with myself. It's
Yeah.
like, if I'm not getting better and we're not winning, or if we are winning, it's like, I don't feel fulfilled. Why I couldn't even figure it out. Why don't I feel fulfilled? And I think it was just because there was nothing to get better at. Like, you're just beating, even if you're winning, you're just beating either people who are bad, like
Yeah.
straight up bad. There's some teams that are just bad, or you're getting killed. Like, there was no balance of, like, you're actually getting better, I feel. And I think it's just a time waster, to be honest.
That's interesting. I never knew you played. I didn't know you played.
Yeah, hockey. Oh, I thought I talked to you about that.
Oh.
Yeah, it was good for me at the time.
Yeah.
I think it really let me get out a lot of anger. Which
you
I
a
wish I
fighter?
could. Oh yeah,
No. You seem like such a nice guy, though, Josh.
yeah, it's weird, right? Like, people see like, oh, you're so nice and this and that, and
Because you want to smash heads.
it's like, oh, but when I played hockey, I was not a good person.
What?
Not a good person. And I think that really weighed on me too, because having a kid, it's like, man, I'm not the person I should be
Oh, yeah.
when I'm playing. It's like,
hear you on that.
this is just poisonous, you know? Either, I don't know if it's the teams I was on or the leagues I was in, but I felt like not a good person.
Huh.
And I think
Interesting.
if I had done jiu-jitsu instead, I would say like 100% I'd be a little more humble about it.
Yeah.
And because everyone's on an equal playing field from the beginning, like you suck. You're a white belt forever kind of thing. You know that saying,
I
right?
still suck.
Yeah.
But,
But with hockey, it's just like, I guess like the adrenaline's like always pumping because you're physically moving a lot.
Yeah.
And then like shit gets to you. And it's not like you can actually do something to someone else without hurting them. Whereas in jiu-jitsu, like, you can, if someone's messing with you, you can control them at least, right? But it's also, if you're one of those hothead guys and they go up against, say, you, and they get humbled, it's like, oh shit, maybe it's me. You know, it's kind of like a check. People can put you back in check.
Yeah.
And I think that check lets you really focus on yourself to be better overall.
Would you say
Just
it's
as-
like an opportunity for introspection?
Yes.
Kind of thing? Interesting.
Yes.
So I mean, it seems like it's a positive change for you. Anyway.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I've met some goony people, but but rarely have they stuck around.
I think we're pretty fortunate. I mean, I feel like the club here is like maybe a little bit exclusive in that, but in a positive way. Like, we don't like, who's our biggest goon?
Gilbert.
that came off real easy. I was thinking. Like,
Actually, I was thinking if we had to say a goon, it maybe would be Gilbert. No,
he's
Garson.
No, he's just clampy.
Yeah, that's why he's such a goon about it now.
It's true.
Both those guys.
Do you think? What do you think is the value of doing, and directly or not related to jujitsu, but like doing hard things? because it seems like what you were talking about, like it made you think about your life and like how you were as a person having a kid. Like, you think it's important to do hard things?
Oh, 100%. I feel that was that I guess if you could narrow it down, that was why jiu-jitsu was so appealing. It's like hard things. And that reset really allowed me to, sorry, I lost my train of thought. So doing hard things makes other hard things that you can't control easier to deal with.
Yes.
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 Because anyone obviously who's had a kid, I mean, it's hard, man. Like the beginning, you don't control anything. They control your life for the first year and a bit of their lives. And I think people who don't do hard things when they're thrown into those type of situations do not do well for the most part. I'm sure there are people who do, because they've kind of just, I guess, steered their way to easier paths. So when thrust into a difficult situation, the stress levels are rising much, much more. And we'll segue to parenting actually with this. With doing the hard things, be it physical and mental, which I think jiu-jitsu is both. And so is kettlebell training actually, a mental thing. I find it's a lot easier to deal with parenting and not revert back to, I guess, say how our parents dealt with it, which was to like raise your voice and I'm the boss. This is how it is. If you're going to scream, I'm going to scream louder. Right? And then the stress levels keep climbing because the kid gets stressed and then you get stressed and then you reach this boiling point of like, boom. Like I'm sure it's happened. I mean, it's happened with me before with Logan. I'm sure it's happened with Max, but I feel like doing this more and more and doing hard things allows you to really give you that patience to calm yourself back down, right? Like in a jiu-jitsu match, if someone's coming hard at you, you know you
like
can,
Ryan?
Like Ryan, you know you can recompose and then address the situation. Same with everything else. If you can keep a calm mind in a stressful situation, even though this child or person is coming at you like 100 miles an hour, you can recompose and you can extinguish the fire that's happening. Firefighter segue, huh?
There you go.
And then control the situation better, right?
I think you're right. I really agree with what you said about how, like, I think doing hard things gives you the mindset that you can do other hard things.
Yes.
I think that's why that's why wrestlers are so tough. Like they're good at like multi-disciplines, or if you can do this really hard thing, then you get it in that mindset where like, well, I did this, I can deal with this, like, and then it's almost like the more things you stack up in your like resume of like stuff you tackled, you can be like, yeah, well, I did this. I think everybody leans on that a little bit, whereas if our adversity here is nothing compared to some other places in the world, but I think like in the context of your personal thing, like I definitely think that's
and I think that where we live, we're super lucky. We don't live in like Ukraine, like what's happening right now, like insanity, right? But look how, if you look at the news about those people, the Ukrainian people, like they lived through hardship most of their lives. And honestly, they're dealing with it quite well because they go through hardship. And when harder times come, they're like, this is nothing, like we've dealt with this before. And the people are just like standing up, whereas I don't know if, say, Canada, that happened. Look at for example, look at COVID when it happened. Look how crazy it got
it's still pretty crazy
in the first world countries of hoarding, of not looking out for your other people. Yeah, like stupid stuff like that. People, I think, have it really cushy for the most part where we live. And if you don't seek out hardship, then when hardship finds you, and it will, in some way, in some form, be it someone's illness or, you can get hit by a car right after this, right? people will crumble because they've never done those hard things, even if it's a little bit hard, you know?
Yeah. No, I hear you, definitely.
It's a perspective.
Doing hard things
Yeah.
makes you better at dealing with hard things.
Have you ever read Jocko's book?
I read Extreme Ownership. Was that
Right.
the one? Yeah, it was good.
I think it was that one. I haven't read it, but he was mentioning about because he does all those leadership
Yeah.
seminars about those type of things as leaders, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I think, do you find that jiu-jitsu is a good, because I find it is a good opportunity to test your concept of the objective versus the subjective, in that, you know, you get, so what I mean by that, this is how I see it sometimes, is it gives you get caught in a submission, like a triangle or
Right.
an arm, probably like, yeah, if you get caught in a joint lock, like an arm bar or something, and the guy's about to execute like a braking mechanic, for me, and I think it's all of us, you come to face this like egotistical part of yourself where, like, objectively, like, you've made the mistake, this is what's going to happen, he's going to destroy your joint
Yeah.
because it is what it is.
Yeah.
But subjectively, how you feel about it is, like, I find myself coming to that ego a lot, where when you do get caught or you're in that position, it's like, I think it's a really good test of, like, it is what it is and what you feel about it. So do you think that's accurate, or?
Yeah, I think it's accurate. I think it's not accurate when you first start, though. Actually, depending on your mindset, depends who it is, because there are going to be some people who just bully their way through it,
Yeah.
and I guess their ego takes over and they do get hurt.
Yeah.
They'll leave an arm just to come at you, right?
Yeah. Break it.
Yeah, break it, take it off, cut it off. I'm just gonna come with you in my face. And then there's gonna be other people who, I don't want to say like fear is the first thing that sets in their mind, but they will not even get to that point, you know? They will, I think, maybe give up before it even gets to that point, because they know.
Yeah.
Or maybe they'll flail. I really don't know. Like, but going back to about me personally, yes, because when we roll sometimes too, it'd be like, oh fuck, I fucked up. Like I'll say it right out. Like, I did this to, you know, get you here, right? And we both chuckle about it, because we know. So I think when we do get in those situations, like, okay, you know, this was my fault.
Yeah.
My ego takes a hit, but whatever. And we just go about our day. And that's, for a lot of people, I think the hardest realization, that it is your fault. You know, that you fucked up. Where I think a lot of people like to blame for their problems, and maybe that's why they have difficulties in their lives, because they don't turn the camera around. And it's like, hey, like, what's the common denominator for all my problems?
Me.
Right? Like, I got caught in the arm bar. You know, it wasn't because that guy was necessarily so much better. Like, what if you went against someone new and you got caught in an arm bar again? It's like, oh shit, it's that guy's fault? No, it's actually you, right?
I like it. Yeah, the common denominator is you. No,
And that, I think those type of situations, yeah, can definitely make you humble and help you fix the things that are going on in your mind for that hubris, right?
interesting.
It's like, oh shit, like,
All right.
this is me. Maybe I should get better at jiu-jitsu. Maybe I should make more money, or, you know, like, or try to be better at my job.
Yeah.
You know, I got fired 3 times. It must be the employers.
I see.
Maybe it's not. Maybe there's something going on that you just don't notice. It's just a blind spot. And I guess going back to doing hard things, it can really shine the light on the cracks.
Yeah.
Right?
Make you aware.
Yeah.
Can't fix anything if you don't think there's a
Right.
problem.
It's like how we spar specifically.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's do back control. I got caught this time. Okay, where are the cracks? Right? We can shine lights on those cracks and then fill it in. Whereas if you don't take those, I guess, risks
Yeah.
to be in difficult situations,
Yeah.
then you're never going to know you actually have a problem in that situation.
Like you won't find your weaknesses.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah.
You're just going to stick to, oh, I can stand on 2 feet.
Yeah.
All right.
Jiu-jitsu does have that pitfall though, I will say, where like you're so afraid of losing or, you know, not being successful that people will not work on their,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
they don't want to lose.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But it's like, it's an interesting thing, like plenty of opportunities, but I don't think,
Yeah.
myself included,
That's a
like
good point.
we're all guilty of not maybe taking those opportunities. Like, this guy, like, I'm just going to smush this guy instead because I want to feel good about like having the upper hand, but,
That's, you know what? I read a thing this morning that Danaher posted, I think, on Instagram about that specifically.
yeah.
It's like, where you train is where you should take the risks.
Yes.
Because if you're training in a proper space, like we do have, I feel like we're quite safe and you're not risking getting hurt.
Yeah.
Is that we can take those risks and
Yeah.
that's where you should, so you fill those cracks.
Yeah.
Because if you do it in competition, or if maybe a life or death situation, they're like, oh yeah, I didn't need to practice this, right? Like say firefighting, like I didn't need to work on climbing that ladder or driving that truck, you know, like fuck it. And then you actually get to those situations, or you life or death, and you don't know.
Yeah.
You're gonna jiu-jitsu wise, you're gonna get your arm broken, and you know, firefighting, someone's gonna die, or you're gonna get hurt.
Yeah. I heard somebody said like you can't really train too much for a job that can kill you.
Yeah, that makes
Or,
sense.
you know, and jiu-jitsu is parallel. Like you can't really train too much or for something that can severely like cripple you. But I mean,
Yeah, but I think you can do it in a way where, especially jiu-jitsu, like you can do it in a way where your partner is not there to kill you. It's just to put you in the bad spot.
Yeah.
To know that you fucked up.
Yeah. Well, that's why our cliquey. I don't know cliquey, but we're very fortunate here that everybody's pretty safe.
Yeah.
No goons except Gilbert.
Yep.
And, but Gilbert, he might goon you, but he's not going to hurt you.
Says you.
Maybe he'll beat up Ryan. Who knows? Yeah. Oh. Closing thoughts. Strangles or mangles? What do you think?
Strangles.
Strangles?
Still strangles.
Yeah.
So you think I have a foot fetish because I
I'm
talk
just
about
saying
all those.
you're I'm not the one posting footlock this and Craig Jones. Anyway,
Okay, the only reason I feel it's effective for me is not even necessarily the lock. Like I don't care about actually like hitting it.
Yeah.
It's just like putting the fear of it being there and then them having to deal with it.
psychological warfare.
It's exactly. It's psychological warfare of, okay, you know what? I'm going to go for your legs. I can go for your legs. I will go for your legs. And if you're going to think about that, and I'll put it out there, I'm going to go for your legs.
Yeah,
you know?
no, I think it's...
Put it out there
it's
and then I'm going to go for, you're not going to know that I'm going to strangle you.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I think even Gordon Ryan put that out there. He's like, yeah, we're so good at leg locks. Everyone's worried about our leg locks that I'm just going to strangle you.
Yeah, that's
And then it
true.
happens.
I think they're important for a complete thing. I've always liked...
Sort of complete.
Yeah, I like strangles more because...
It's definite.
Yeah, and also I feel like you have more control. You're not going to hurt anybody. Like,
Yep.
I think my favorite is probably like arm triangles. Leg triangles are cool too, but I think arm triangles it's nice because your arms are not as strong as your legs, so it's more of a finesse kind of thing. Whereas, you can just super squeeze crush them with your groin adductors or something like that. But yeah, I like strangles.
Yeah. My personal would be rear triangle.
Rear triangle?
Like from the back?
I never hit that.
I know, that's why it's so hard.
My short, stumpy hobbit legs never get there. Yeah. Well, thanks, man. Any advice for people starting that you wish you knew?
It's a good one. I would say do not think about any submission at all ever when you're first starting.
That's so hard because the submission,
I know.
that's the sexiness that draws you in. Like, I saw this guy do it. I'm going to go strangle everybody.
I know. Don't think about it though. Think about that everyone else in the room can strangle you and you just want to not get strangled, first of all. Because
that's not why I'm here. I show up Monday and then by Sunday I'll be tapping everybody, right? Was that not the sell?
And expect to lose. Don't expect to come in and be good. Expect you to be a baby. Be a baby. Have that mindset that you're a baby and you're learning to walk. You're learning to crawl.
Yeah.
And eventually you will get to standing. Yeah. And you'll be somewhat competent.
Great. Sweet. Last question. Who are you going to choose as your doubles partner?
Oh, I get a choice?
Well, if you were gonna,
if I was gonna
put
choose?
it on record, like who's?
I'm gonna go with my goon. I'm gonna get Gilbert.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's good talking to you, man, and we'll see what Gilbert has to say. Maybe you guys would be a good team.
Yeah.
His size.
That's why. Like, oh, I think it would be a good.
Would you go first, or would you send him out first?
Oh.
Would you? Because I could see if you sent Gil out first, he'd goon them and tire them out.
Yeah.
So if I mean, it's
a good question.
We've only taught one submission. I'm sure they remember some from PTT.
You know what? I would send him out just for the sheer tired factor. Because if I have to go against clamps, if Garson's coming out, God. I don't want to deal with that first. I'd rather have two clampy guys going. Maybe he'll crush his clamps.
Fire with fire.
It's like when that other bender came out.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah, this has been fun.
Cool.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. See you, John. See you, John. See you, John.